Hi, I'm CDuncan. I'm a middle school teacher here in San Diego at Lewis Middle. This feels very weird to do without scripting, but I'm doing my best to work from an outline. I haven't done this kind of vlogging stuff before, so I'm excited to give it a go. First question is whether I'm a digital native. I'm 24 years old, so I think arguably I would fall into that divide, if it is a divide, as we read in our readings. So I grew up with internet in my schooling as far back as I remember. We would go to the computer labs more than anything in elementary school. By middle, we had computers in the classroom for us, but actually that's not true. By high school, I had computers in each classroom. But elementary, would go to a computer lab every once in a while and learn research skills, typing skills. I remember a lot of typing games. In middle school, I even had a class that was typing oriented, and slight coding as well, which coding looks very different now than it did then, but is a computer class. So yeah, and by college I was drafting all of my essays on the computer first rather than drafting on paper and transporting, and I used technology continually. So yeah, I would say I'd fall into the digital native side of that. Although, as I wrote on one of the discussion boards, some of the teachers giving me the most digital run for my money are much, much older than me at my site. So I don't believe that that's an age-specific thing, but I would definitely fall on the digital native side, both in age, I think, and in use. My experience with digital media as a student, I think the strongest aspect of technology is actually efficiency. A lot of, I just watched the video as the last reading or text that I looked at, and it was talking a lot about connection and communication, and I think that that's another absolutely important aspect. But I personally feel like as a student, the efficiency of it, of receiving information and not needing, I don't need to print. I have all of my stuff in OneNote and can highlight and annotate there and then transfer, and the efficiency of the technology I think is most helpful. And the efficiency of getting information, the maximizing the amount of information you have access to through the internet and through everything else, how quickly it is to find information. As a teacher, of course, efficiency as well. Also communication with parents, I think, is vastly improved with email. I know that email is often, and text is often looked down upon in communication, but an efficiency of trying to schedule a meeting or get down to a root of a problem, or not even just not having to wait until they pick up the phone to be able to communicate with them, but be able to communicate and they'll get it when they get it and they respond without it needing to be school hours, I think is ideal. It doesn't beat face-to-face for many things, but for many things it's highly efficient. And also just the ways to gather information and then disperse information to students as well. It's already been 3 minutes. That's weird. New literacy practices. The biggest example I can think of as a student, which I guess it doesn't really apply to education student, but being a student of the world, in my Facebook feed, it's majority news articles. I subscribe to LA Times and New York Times in my Facebook, so I think that that's something that people who are not digital natives or not of my era don't understand, is that those social network tools are not necessarily empty or purely about friends or self or whatever it is, but that's where I have some of my biggest connection to the global society, is through Facebook, which most people I don't think expect unless they're my age and a global citizen. But yeah, the majority of my organization, I guess, is on my phone. I have to-do lists in there, I have my schedule in there, I have just everything that I would need access to be able to schedule and get things done in my life on my phone. And my students will see me on my phone because I have my timer on there, or I have the app that randomly generates their names and all that stuff on there, and they know I'm working. They know that that's a work tool. So I think for new literacy practices, using that technology to be my hub is one thing I would count. Oh my gosh, this is long. Okay. Learning changed over time given daily info access. I think, like I said, like having news and stuff in my Facebook feed, I think I'm a more knowledgeable citizen of the world with easy access to information that otherwise I may not have time or have the ability even to access. I think I answered all the questions, and this is long. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you soon.